going on, everybody? It is your boy Arrows here. And yesterday, if you're watching this on the day it goes up, which is Tuesday, March 31st, yesterday, March 30th, 2026, the team at Riot Games announced the first set of bans coming to the Riftbound trading card game. And oh my gosh, were they doozies. So we're gonna look at the cards of the ban, and we're gonna actually go onto the Riftbound website, and we're gonna read their thoughts on why these cards were banned. So we got 7 banned cards, 1 unit, 3 spells / gears, and 3 battlefields. So we're losing Fight or Flight, Scrap Heap, Called Shot, Draven Vanquisher, Obelisk of Power, the Dreaming Tree, and Reaver's Row. Now, as someone who plays Annie, these bans actually affect me quite a bit. Annie's not my main deck, but it is a deck that I really enjoy. But I do understand the reason for these bans and why these cards in particular were hit. If you guys do not know, right now Riftbound is in a Draven meta. Draven is probably the best deck right now to be playing. You can make a statement you can make a case for Aurelia, who does take a slight hit in this ban list because she is losing Fight or Flight, and if you play Scrap Heap in your builds and Called Shot. But most importantly, this ban was immediately targeted at Draven. Draven is really good. When he wins a combat, you get to play a gold gear token exhausted, and one eye attack or defend, you may recycle a rune to give him +2 on a 4 cost. That is 4. This, when combined with the Draven Legends ability of drawing a card whenever you win a combat, makes for a very dangerous deck. And Draven is one of the best decks, if not the best competitive deck this format, because literally every major event has them in the top, if not winning. So for that aspect, we have lost Fight or Flight, which lets you move a unit from a battlefield to its base. It can be hidden. We lost Called Shot, which is arguably the card that I thought for sure myself was going to get banned because it is incredibly broken. For a rune cost of 0 and a recycle of chaos, which you can easily pay with a Seal of Discord, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck, draw 1, and recycle the other. This is really good when combined with all the other really crazy ways that Purple and Work can do stuff with this. This is just a really, really good card. Scrap Heap, I think, is the one that surprised me a little bit. When this is played, discarded, or killed, draw 1 card. I think out of everything, I think a lot of people were calling for Stacked Deck to be on this list. Maybe Ride the Wind. But I was definitely surprised to see Scrap Heap. The battlefields, on the other hand, they don't really surprise me that much. They are easily the 3 most abusable battlefields in Riftbound right now. I'm, of course, talking about Reaver's Row. When you defend here, you may move a friendly unit from here to base. You can protect really easily some of your key units, and it does make a non-interactive pattern, which really changes the flow of the game, and is especially really, really strong in Draven. Especially in the case of when you enter the combat initiates. So if you move off her Reaver's Row, Draven Vanquisher will get its ability to let you play gold gear token. Draven itself will get legend will get its ability to let you draw a card. Very, very, very disgusting card in combination with these Miracle Draven decks, or just Draven decks in general, which is really, really good. The Dreaming Tree is another really strong card. Because of its ability. It's the first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell here each turn, draw a card. This was really good metagame-wise in a lot of decks. I myself personally am running this in my Master Yi build because I do play cards like Discipline and the punch card that I can't remember that costs 1 and you recycle 2. I cannot think of its name. It'll come to me probably at some point in this video. So yeah, I really like this ban. It is so good, so consistent, not just in Draven, but in other very strong purple decks, other just strong decks in general. This is really playable in orange because you have cards that can get that target. This is very strong in green. This is kind of less strong in blue, but it is very strong in the Draven variants as well. And then Obelisk of Power at the beginning of each player's first beginning phase, that player challenges an extra rune. An extra rune is a big deal in this game. At the very start of the turn, the first player flips over 2 runes. The second player flips over 3. With this, with Obelisk of Power in play, it greatly speeds up the gameplay process, giving the first player 3 runes and the second player 4 runes. This is much more stronger than we'll use a Dreaming Tree as Paper Tree as the other example. When you hold here, everybody channels a rune Exhausted. That is a much more balanced version of this card because it does have a requirement, and that rune comes in Exhausted, whereas with Dreaming Tree, it comes in like right away. And you can immediately have it come in and go away. Like you can immediately come in and take full advantage of that, making your turn 1, especially your turn 2 plays talking, that much more effective. So now I've told you why I think these are all getting banned. Let's go and look at the article that they actually posted for this, and let's see what they have to say. Alrighty, so effective March 31st, that's the other thing. This ban list takes place today when I am recording this video. They're talking about the bans: Called Shot, Draven Vanquisher, Fight or Flight, Scrap Heap, Battlefields, Dreaming Tree, Obelisk of Power, and Reaver's Row. So, before we get into today's details, it is important to highlight that we know today's bans will impact many players. Bans are not something we take lightly, especially today's, as they are the first ever bans for Rifbound. Our approach has always been to do what we believe is best for Rifbound players, even when it's difficult. We're committed to being honest and direct with our players regarding the game, and today we are continuing that by detailing how and why we arrived at our decision to ban these cards in Battlefields. Philosophy. So when do we ban cards? These are the first bans we're making for Rifbound, so I want to broadly explain when and why we would ban these cards. To some degree, this is a work in process. We will be informed by how these impact the Rifbound competitive metagame, and our future decisions will take that and player sentiment into account. There are numbers of factors that matter when we consider whether to ban. Number 1, is the card overrepresented, I cannot read today, in an unhealthy way. We don't want our metagame dominated by a single legend, domain, or play pattern over an extended period of time. To define this, we take many things into consideration, such as impact on organized play at every level and representation at major events. I was actually talking about this with one of our Rifbound players on Saturday, where she made mention that a lot of locals are doing like non-meta nights because people are just getting so burnt out on this Draven meta that they do not want to come to their local Nexus night. So they've introduce non-meta nights to try to bring that population back to the shop. Because honestly, Rifbound is a fantastic game. It's probably up there with Final Fantasy, with the Final Fantasy trading card game, as like my favorite card game right now. It's so good. The gameplay is usually pretty smooth, and it is just overall a very fun and different card game experience with the addition of the battlefields and the points and how the combat interacts as opposed to other card games. Number 2, are the problems with the card likely to get worse over time? Yes. Certain types of problems are more likely to get worse over time. Specifically, cards that are inexpensive and synergy driven will tend to get stronger as we release more cards, since they combine with more and more things. If we believe we will have to take action against a certain card eventually, we want to act sooner rather than later. I love this strategy. Now, before we read more of this, I need to tell you guys, I love this ban list. I love the approach that Riot took for this ban list. They weren't taking any chances. They banned the cards that were the problem. They didn't beat around the bush. They just came in and they executed what they wanted, and they more than likely took a deck out of the format greatly changing the format as well. Draven is not, this form of Draven is not playable anymore. These forms, you're gonna have, if you want to play Draven, you're gonna have to heavily rely on a different style of Draven, using Draven Audacious, the purple champion unit. So I love that they came in and they just like, you know what? We know we have a problem. This is going to continue to get worse. Let's going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it now before we get into Unleashed, the next set. And I think that is a very, very sound strategy on their part. Does this card promote play patterns that negatively affect the game in other ways? It isn't all about raw power. Player experience matters as well. Riftbound can be complex, and while that's a big part of what our competitive players enjoy, we don't want games to feel miserable or tournaments to take forever. Just because a card or deck runs afoul of one of these factors doesn't mean we take action based on that alone. But depending on the context, each can be a powerful multiplier with the others and lead us to consider banning something. So rather than ban cards, why don't we just change them? This is a very good question. Like, how this was also a very easy fix to change how the cards operate. This deck would not be as broken if Draven, the legend, exhausted itself to draw the card. Because Draven doesn't exhaust itself to draw the card, you can do Draven's ability multiple times in a combat. You can take something. You can, if you can ready that thing, you can challenge into something else. If you have ganking, you can challenge into the other battlefield and take it, and you get to draw 2 cards. And if you're using Draven Vanquisher for both of those, you get 2 gold gear tokens as well. So rather than ban cards, why don't we just change them? Or if it's helpful, change the underlying rules to remove power or restore fun. We do errata cards and change the rules over time. This is very true. Rifbounds is a game where new rules cards are added to every new set, and we hope to keep that it keeps it fresh and fun. But the primary purpose of changes like this is a long-term health of the game. Either the rules can't support the content properly and changes must be made to provide that support, or to clarify what's intended to happen with a card or rule. We do not change cards or rules as a balance lever to adjust the competitive metagame. What about restricting or otherwise limiting cards? When a specific card is a problem, when limiting or restricting, it can actually make the problem sharper. It can then come down to magnified randomness on who draws their lone copy, for example. We do not have any plans to pursue these in the foreseeable future. I actually like this, banned or nothing. I think that's a very good strategy. Who knows what the long term holds, but it's not something players should expect to see from us anytime soon. It's also important for us to clarify that whatever intervention we make in the competitive metagame, it's straightforward to describe. You can't play that anymore. It's a lot clearer and simpler than you can, but under these circumstances. Or you can play that, but they totally changed how it works, even though the text is not on the card. I like this. I like this approach. If it's a problem, get rid of it. Limiting something really brings it down to a game of chance. And in the case of Riftbound, not a lot of people run more than one copy of that legend, of that champion, and they use it as their chosen champion. So I think by not limiting things and just outright banning them, I think that is a very sound strategy by Riot. Now, Miracle decks. This was the main target of these bans. This is the deck that is sweeping the game right now, and Riot was very quick to get on it and, well, kill it. Recently, several archetypes have emerged that utilize the same core of Chaos cards to draw through most of their deck and play a series of undercost units in the same turns. Players have been calling these decks Miracle decks. These strategies have proven highly successful, and they take a large amount of game actions that take a very long time to execute. With the Miracle player navigating a large number of choices in tournament play, these decks have also contributed to significant round delays due to the time they consume on the clock. The Chaos domain, the purple domain, is so overtuned in this game. It is bad. Like, purple is so dominant in this game, whether it be Draven. Annie was really huge in the Origins format. Pike coming out in the next set looks to be a different kind of dominant purple deck. So I'm very glad they opted to take these shots right now. We do not consider this style of deck to be healthy, and we do not want players who feel like they have to gravitate towards this package every time they play a Chaos Legend. On top of this, as the card pool expands, cards that support this type of strategy will become more powerful. Because of this, we're banning Called Shot and Scrap Heap, 2 cards that allow the player to filter through their deck and get ahead on cards at a pace that is efficient. Free. Draven. The second issue is power outliers. Other than the various miracle builds, the mid-range Draven deck has proven to be both prevalent and stronger than we consider healthy. Draven decks are more difficult to target because the most obvious card providing power to the deck is the legend Draven Glorious Executioner. However, if we ban a legend, we are essentially banning everyone from playing Draven, and we would only do that as a last resort. I'm very happy to see that if a legend gets too powerful, they will drop the ban hammer on it. That is something that I was really worried about in this game when it launched. If something was way too powerful, are they going to do something about the card? And they are, and that makes me very, very happy. Draven decks have a combination of a powerful legend, a strong champion, and a highly efficient card pool, and battlefields that synergize particularly well with the strategy. Without a clear outlier like Called Shot is for Miracle decks, none of these elements would be concerning individually, but together they create a deck whose metagame presence and win rate are higher than we're comfortable with. To be clear, we made a mistake with Draven's Legend and the power of Draven decks because making a new game is complicated and we've been moving fast. At least they acknowledge that Draven's Legend is very, very poorly worded. That card should tap on activation. So when you conquer, you should have to tap the Draven to draw a card. To address this, we're banning Draven Vanquisher. Having guaranteed access to such a strong turn 2 play gives Draven deck builders considerable freedom while creating early game pressure that is difficult for opponents to navigate. Because Draven's Showboat from the origin still exists, Draven decks will retain access to a chosen champion in each of the domains. Lastly, we're also banning Fight or Flight to limit the power of Chaos decks more generally. Its ability to be played from hand or hidden to negate a combat and protect a friendly unit makes it a flexible spell that is best in class in too many scenarios. I agree completely. I love purple, and I agree completely. While we want this kind of design to be core to the Chaos experience, this one has proven to be powerful enough to crowd out other reasonable designs. Fight or Flight's banning will allow Rifbounds' other colors to better compete with Chaos. As far as these not Battlefield bans go, I think they've hit it on the dot. Chaos, Fury, Fury is red, right? Yeah, Chaos and Fury together is the most dominant domain combination in Riftbound. Draven is phenomenal. And even just Chaos in general. Aurelia is a great card. Sivir has seen play at the top tables. Who else am I missing for purples? No, Kaisa's blue. Who else is purple? Yasuo, but he doesn't count. And most of those purple strategies are very hindrant on Fight or Flight. I think this is a very strong ban, even though it hurts me as well. And Aurelia. But Aurelia also needs to take some hits because with Miracle and mid-range Draven gone, Aurelia is more than likely going to step up as the best deck in the format, which I think is going to give precedence for Victor decks to rise up, Lux decks to rise up, because unless Aurelia has those counters in hand, blue and yellow have a strong, very healthy mix of destruction cards that Aurelia will not be able to get around unless they are running maxed out on their counter cards, but that takes away deck space from other things as well. Battlefields. Now, this sucks because I run all of these battlefields, but I do understand why they had to go. Battlefields present unique design challenges because of how they work in Riftbound, and that means we have to judge them a little differently from the cards in your main deck, which is completely fair. They start in play, can't usually be modified or destroyed, and can be played in any deck regardless of the champion or domains. This ambiguity, I did not say that right, means they are at greater risk of overrepresentation and repetition than any other type of card in Riftbound. Given the quantity of battlefields already in Riftbound, the more that come with each new set, given their aforementioned ambiguity, it means players have options to find replacements while still feel rewarding for their deck when we decide to ban them. In evaluating a battlefield's impact on Riftbound, there is a difference between this battlefield supports a strategy or tactic, and this battlefield is defining the game, and we feel the battlefields below have crossed over into the latter. I agree completely with this. The first is Reaver's Row, which promotes a non-interactive pattern, especially if both players bring it in the same game, that rather than having meaningful showdowns and interactions between players or situations where a player tries to hold, players will just retreat. It's also disproportionately strong in Draven decks where their opponent can retreat without giving them a card, and in domains can't retreat without giving them a card, and in domains where conquering is already stronger than holding. The second is Dreaming Tree, which is a battlefield that distorts deck building and provides substantial card flow due to its ability to be used on both players' turns. Access to this much card flow is a strength or weakness of various domains, and the presence of Dreaming Tree in the meta tree provides an excessively high level of consistency. Finally, we're banning Obelisk of Power for being ambiguous among the most powerful decks and for reducing interesting deck building decisions. Normally, when building a deck, players need to account for the games in which they'll play first and the games in which they'll play second, which means they want to disturb of energy costs in their deck. With Obelisk of Power, players can bypass this restriction and ensure they always hit the same breakpoints, whether they go first or second. Our hope with this set of bans is that Miracle decks in all their forms become less prevalent and less powerful, and that Draven and other Chaos strategies take a slight step back to compete with the rest of the field on a more equal footing. We look forward to seeing what you all do with this new metagame. Here are my thoughts on this. I think they did a very good job on this list. Like they said, with more cards coming out that support these strategies, these cards are only going to become more broken. What I hope to see from this is some price drops on some of the purple seals. I would like to see them go down in price a little bit. They are very, very expensive right now. So hopefully with Chaos and Draven being less prevalent in the meta, they will see a drop in price. What does this mean for the meta going forward? Well, like I said, I feel like Aurelia is going to step up as the top deck in this format now. Aurelia is so good. I would argue that it is probably better than Draven, but it is a lot harder to pilot than Draven. And I think that losing these battlefields doesn't really hurt it too much. Fight or Flight sucks a little bit, but there are other cards coming out that will have this move function that might now see play because this insanely broken card is gone. With the lack of Chaos and Fury decks going around now, red and purple, I think you could see stuff like Kaisa start coming back into play. Maybe Ari sees some more play. Leona, stuff that can come in and really have a conquer and destroy strategy that is a little bit harder to pull off with all of these great purple cards being able to move stuff out of the battlefield. I know when somebody activates something that targets an enemy on a battlefield in Kaisa and they move it, that is now just a wasted card. Leona coming in and trying to stun something, moving it out with either Reaver's Row or Fight or Flight, greatly deteriorates that deck's chances, and then they just come in and they get taken out. With those decks becoming hopefully more prevalent again, I think Victor is a very strong choice going into this new ban. I also think Lux is a very strong choice going into this new format. They're both really strong cards that have a ton of removal options for those still strong Aurelia decks and other decks that come into the format that need that board presence that Victor and Lux take away. LeBlanc, we also have a new set coming out with cards like LeBlanc and Diana that are going to be really, really strong, that don't really take a lot of hits from this ban list. But I would like to know what you guys think of the bans coming out for the Rifbound trading card game. Do you think Riot did a very good job? Is there some other things that you would have liked to have seen go as well? I know a lot of players were calling for stacked deck to go as well. I don't think stacked deck is as big of a problem as Called Shot, because Called Shot in a lot of Miracle decks and a lot of Draven decks is just a free card, getting you another free card. So let me know guys know what you think. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to the video, ding the notification bell if you want to be alerted to any of this content that we post. We post TCGs here. We do RPGs over at Arrows Does RPGs, and we do everything else on Arrows Gaming. Go give those a follow. I really need to redo this layout because those are not the socials anymore. But anyway, guys, have yourselves a great day. Enjoy the new Rifbound format. I really like to know what you think is going to see play, how you think Unleashed is going to impact this game going forward, and I would love to know what you guys think. Until next time, my friends, I will see you when I see you. Stay safe out there, and go play some card games. Bye.